Why were you terrified? Do you not yet have faith? Our first reading from the book of Job has a storm, and our gospel has a storm as well. In both cases, they reveal the power of God. God addresses Job, telling him that it was God's creative power that established the sea, the earth, all the powers and the forces of nature, and their limits. Yet God is in control, and at the command of God, the waves and the storm will be silenced, for they must obey their Creator. We see this action in the gospel. A storm blew up while Jesus and his disciples were crossing the Sea of Galilee. Jesus was asleep, and the disciples became overwhelmed by fear that they would drown. What a natural reaction. Fear of the elements, fear of the stormy sea. But Jesus was asleep. How could he sleep through the storm while his disciples were engulfed with fear? The word expressed to Job, God has set the limits to the forces of nature, and all is under God's control. That gave Jesus the confidence that no matter how big the storm, God's protection is assured. He could sleep secure while others became fearful that they would die. Not many people have that kind of confidence, that kind of faith. And yet, once in a while, you hear of such faith. One day, there was a group of people traveling on a small ship, and there were many people gathered together, and they were having a good time, enjoying the fresh air, the beautiful blue sky, and the peaceful ocean. As the day went on, everything was going well. But soon, on the horizon, a few clouds began to form. And soon the clouds were many and became dark. The sun was hidden. The waves began to build up, and the people on the boat began to feel it rocking in the water. Waves began to spill onto the deck of the ship, and the people became frightened that they were about to sink. Some began to cry. Some began to pray. All were afraid, except for one little boy who was just playing on the ship. Soon the storm passed. The sky became clear again and calm, and the sea a beautiful blue. The sun began to shine, and the people were relieved and calm again. And they called the little boy to them, and a man asked the boy, "Why were you so calm and continuing to play when we all thought the ship was about to sink? Why were you not afraid?" And the little boy responded, "Why should I be afraid? My father is the captain of the ship." This is the confidence and the faith that Jesus had. His Father is the creator of the universe and controls the elements, even amid a storm. And so when the disciples in their fear wake up Jesus, he asks them, "Why were you terrified? Do you not yet have faith?" We can easily be like the fearful disciples in the boat during the storm. Of course, within the gospel, the forces of nature and the storm, the waves are crashing onto their boat. And they represent all that can disturb the human heart. We can easily feel like we are tossed about in a storm. We can easily lose sight that amid the troubles of our lives, God is still present to us and is in control. It's difficult for us to quiet our hearts and focus on God's care for us, as it was for the disciples during the storm. They cry out to Jesus, "Do you not care that we are perishing, perhaps we have cried out such words to God. Jesus' response to them and to us is to have faith and to trust in God. God's power and wisdom are greater than all the powers of nature and any other power that might disturb us. And God's gift to us is to believe and to trust, not only on the sunny, clear, blue sky days, but in the storms of life that come our way.